And today we got the moment the moment Avatar: The Last Airbender became a masterpiece. Be sure to check out my stuff.
Not Yo-Yo.
Be sure to check out Stanley's stuff.
Stanley Live.
That's how long it's been since Avatar: The Last Airbender first aired. And yet, despite the last 2 decades of rewatching and analysis and scrutiny, this show remains in my...
Who's scrutinizing Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I feel like every show goes... You know what I think it is? I think every, 5 years, we revisit a show and decide if it's still good or not. And it passes that, though.
Avatar always good.
I agree.
Avatar don't got to check in with no one.
Come on now. Hey, Stan. If Avatar got to check in, you got to check in with me.
What?
I ain't gonna lie. I'll die about Avatar. Yeah,
my opinion, an absolute masterpiece. It's one of those very rare pieces of art.
I ain't never subscribed to that.
Yeah,
I ain't never subscribed to
Is it as good as Avatar: The Last Airbender? No. Is it bad? No. Yeah, I don't.
And to be honest, if you wanted another docile monk as an Avatar, rewatch Avatar: The Last Airbender, bro. What is you talking about? I think Korra is fine. Bro. I think Korra is
now, did she intensely mess up by getting rid of the Avatar lineage?
The entire state.
Yeah, that's horrible. Whoa. She has her faults, but she was there though.
I'm arguing is the show good and is Korra tough? Yeah. Both of the answer is yes to both of those questions, bro. Yeah. I will not stand for Korra slander, bro. I will not.
Where everything just seemed to fall into place. The world building, the character arcs, the humor, the emotional depth, the voice acting, the music. The list of what Avatar: The Last Airbender does well is basically endless. It is a true masterclass in storytelling, a nuanced but powerful show which reveals new layers.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy with this video because I just realized we're about to glaze Avatar for the next 15 minutes and I want nothing more.
I'm 110% with that.
Layers of depth.
Zuko and Azula is one of the coolest fights in fiction, bro.
Oh my goodness, bro.
The music. The way
that you can... Hold on. You know what it is, bro? Now, we don't really know what good fights are like no more because we're focused on the fighting, not what the fighting meant. Because it's like the music hits because the story hits. Like,
Zuko spent the whole show getting his ass beat. That nigga got there. Right. And the wall of fire was there, but he was standing.
Right. He spent the whole show fighting for himself, learning how to fight for someone else.
He was firebending like an earthbender, nigga.
Oh yeah, no. He was using all the elements. You know what I'm saying? With the whole
the part when he got
up. Come on, bro. They don't know.
Boy,
they don't know. That's cinema. Y'all call anything the best these days, bro. This is cinema, bro.
This is like 2011
kid show.
What?
Come on.
And meaning every time you revisit it, which I try to do every 1 or 2 years. But if we're being honest, Avatar didn't start out this way.
Bloodbending used to be scary, bro.
Bloodbending was terrifying.
Bloodbending used to be scary.
I'll borderline say it still is.
But when they first introduced it with the old lady, bro,
and the stories about the people disappearing,
and Katara being like, "Oh my god, I'm controlling." Like it's Bloodbending is up.
Yeah. In fact, I've struggled in the past to introduce people to this show because sure, while those early episodes of season 1 are charming, they can definitely be a bit of a slog to get.
And then, sorry. Okay. And then Katara never bloodbended, right? Until she found the killer mom!
Come on, bruh. That's real pain right there. The thing that she locked away, she was willing to do again if it meant for her mom.
Through for some people. The tone is bouncier, the stakes feel lighter, and yeah, they're fun to watch. I'll always have good memories of seeing Aang tame the Unagi, but they definitely have that Nickelodeon energy, and they don't exactly scream, this is one of the greatest animated stories ever told. And yet, as every fan knows, Avatar doesn't stay this way for long. No, it grows, it matures, and it eventually becomes this genuinely moving epic about war, and hope and redemption. Yes, there are jokes and childish
funny ass episode. This episode is so funny.
Moments throughout. There always will be. But much like Aang himself, the show finds this beautiful balance between lightness and real, often painful emotional depth. Which raises the question, when exactly does Avatar transition from being a solid kids show to something much more? What is the precise moment Avatar The Last Airbender...
From being a kid show? Probably when they visit the Air Temple. Like, once they got to the temple.
I want to go. It got mad serious. It got mad serious when he grew out his hair.
You know what?
I was post Azula stab in the back. I want to go there. I'm putting my parlay there.
I almost want to go when Jean refused to be his teacher. Like with the fire shit and he brought Katara.
Was that before or after Azula though? That was after Azula. Because Fire's the last.
No, because he tried to learn it early.
You're right.
To learn it early.
You're right. Never mind.
Appa getting stolen is also a good turning point.
But that's before Azula.
Oh, you know what?
Or is that after?
You know what? I might go. Bro, what's his name? The General Zhao killing the fish. Zuko going in the water, heating up the shit. Uncle Iroh being like, whatever you do to that fish, I will leave tenfold. I think I might go there, bro. I think I might go there.
And then UA fucking sacrifice it.
I go there.
Becomes the masterpiece we all know it as today. Well, I think there are a few episodes you could feasibly point to. Some people might say it's the Winter Solstice two-parter, when the spiritual mythology really starts to unfold. Others might point to The Deserter, with its surprisingly heavy themes of discipline and responsibility. Maybe it's when the story reaches the Northern Water Tribe and
has to be.
The scale of the world properly opens up. Or if you're a little more patient, maybe you think it's not until season 2, when Azula steps onto the stage, or when Toph joins the group and the show's final form really starts to take shape. But for me, the real shift, the moment Avatar The Last Airbender becomes a masterpiece, happens much earlier, in season 1, episode 12, The Storm. Like I've already said, the first 11
Oh, this is when we get the lore about why Zuko has the burn on his eye.
Yeah, I think so.
Episodes of Avatar The Last Airbender are not bad by any means. In fact, when compared to most other animated shows, they're pretty solid. Episodes such as the Southern Air Temple, the Waterbending Scroll, and the Winter Solstice 2
when he closed the cloud back up after doing that.
Lay essential bricks in the show's foundation, building the world, deepening the characters, and quietly setting up a much larger story. However, when compared to what Avatar The Last Airbender would eventually become, the first half of Book 1 does have its shortcomings. There's an overtly Adventure of the Week vibe running through these early episodes, light, breezy side quests that, while charming and often laying important groundwork, still feel a little juvenile. And of course, this makes sense. Avatar originally aired on Nickelodeon and was aimed primarily at kids. But while there's still undoubtedly heart in these episodes, there's just not always a ton of weight. And this is especially true when you look at the 2 episodes that immediately precede The Storm, Jet and The Great Divide. Now look, I wouldn't go as far as to call an episode like Jet bad. It's an interesting enough character piece, which does a decent job at teasing some...
Jet was such a loser. I wasn't the biggest fan of him.
He was like Jet,
but he didn't have much to work with.
I don't think Jet was a loser. More so, I think he was more like a Thanos. And I know that sounds crazy.
I think he was just a victim.
I think it's like the right idea, wrong way going about it. Because he is a victim of his scenario and situation, so he did things. And then also he had the other side of doing things, which was taking the lives.
And he also bro, he lost his mom.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
I can't get mad at a nigga for act. I think niggas don't like Jet because he targeted Zuko when Zuko was a good guy.
Shoot, I was gonna say could even say that Katara was feeling Jet early on because of a younger Katara. If a younger Katara met the person who killed their mom, she would have killed bro. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That's probably why Katara even liked Jet. So that's what I'm saying.
Jet is just he's just a victim, bro. He didn't have enough time. He didn't have enough time. Nor did he have enough information. Nor did he
the right system context around him. Like Katara literally hung out with the Airbender. That's why she didn't take out that life
type
at
shit.
the end.
Type shit.
With the moral gray areas the show will
You know what's like the funniest episode? The fucking play.
The plague?
The play at the end.
Oh yeah,
so
when they're pretending.
When Jet died, he crawled under the rock. That shit was funny.
With much more depth
my sonar
nuance later on. However, when you step back and look at the plot, a group of ragtag teenagers launching guerrilla strikes against entire Fire Nation battalions, It does all feel a little childish and silly, especially when you throw in the very surface level romance subplot between Jet and Katara. And then there's the Great Divide, which is basically unanimously agreed upon by the Avatar fanbase to be
Don't you dare.
the worst episode.
I disagree strongly. I loved this episode.
Yeah, I did.
Is that?
Episode of the entire show.
Cap!
Perhaps the only bad episode.
It's the word. Mango, say that to me at DreamCon. I like this episode. And then they gave the backstory, and then it became cool at the end.
Episode of the entire show, due to just how inconsequential and instantly forgettable it is. Hell,
he said, I remembered.
Am I Glazer?
The thing is, right, I don't disagree because I love every Avatar episode. But if you're ever going to put on, like, what's the worst episode then? I just don't know what I would say to that answer.
Worst episode.
So even though I disagree, I don't have an answer. That's what I'm saying. I still disagree. I just don't have an answer to that question, though.
Hell, even the creators of Avatar The Last Airbender, Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino, have jokingly disowned The Great Divide, which...
What? I thought it was a great episode.
I thought it was chilling.
You've got to say is pretty funny. Together, these episodes really embody that lighter, young adult energy of early Avatar. And maybe this is why the tonal whiplash of The Storm hits as hard as it does. It's the moment the show stops playing around. Like the writers suddenly realized one day that they were already halfway through the first season and should probably start showing everyone what this seemingly simple story was truly capable of. The emotional complexity of The Storm and its status as a turning point in the show are evident from the very first scene. We open not with a joke or a quirky side quest, but with a nightmare, Aang floating in this dreamlike void. The music is cold and otherworldly. Katara and Sokka appear at his side, his new points of comfort, his found family, but they vanish just as quickly. They can't help him here. Then comes Monk Gyatso. He asks why Aang disappeared before crumbling into ash. A haunting moment made even more powerful by the brilliant animation. We even witness a few frames of Fire Lord Ozai's towering silhouette right before Aang wakes up. Now remember, at this point in the series, we barely know anything about Aang's past, but we don't need context to feel the weight of what he's seeing here. It's a nightmare about fear. Fear of the past he ran from, and the destiny he's still not quite ready to face. It's not exposition, it's not...
Yeah, that's like when you really think the world went 100 years without an Avatar.
It's crazy. They're supposed to happen the whole time.
That's how you know a show is goated when their worst episode is still good. Bro, so maybe I'm like, I still don't know if I want to give it the worst episode.
I don't even want
but
to
it's still a great episode.
I agree, because I genuinely
I have to agree. Okay. Yeah.
Set up. It's guilt, it's trauma, and with it, Avatar quietly signals that it's about to start digging a little deeper. Anyway, while Aang wrestles with guilt in his dreams, a different kind of commotion is brewing aboard Zuko's ship. There's not a cloud in the sky, but Uncle Iroh, with that quiet wisdom of his, can feel a storm brewing. The atmosphere here is tense and claustrophobic. Zuko snaps at his crew, who mutter resentfully behind his back. He's not some noble prince. He's just a scarred teenager, obsessed, reckless, isolated. And yet, even here, the storm plants the seeds of something deeper. Zuko isn't cruel for cruelty's sake. He's frustrated, desperate, alone. For now though, none of that matters. They can't outrun what's coming.
Bro, Zuko has one of the best character arcs of fiction, bro.
Ever.
Like, fiction, bro.
Not in the sky, and not inside themselves. Meanwhile, Team Avatar has stopped in a seaside village, looking for supplies and work. Now, up until this point in the story, every character who meets Aang has treated him the same way, with the same kind.
Everyone in this village was going, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Move the camera.
I ain't gonna lie. This nigga was going, bro.
I ain't gonna lie.
Boy,
bro, overly.
It was really gonna be like that.
And blind reverence. You know, the Avatar is back, hope has returned. No one questions where he's been, no one asks what his absence cost. And to be honest, I've always found this a little strange. Again, I get that it's a kid.
I remember getting so tight when Katara got jealous of this. I remember getting so tight. I got so mad, bro.
Support your mans, bro.
It's like I'm saying, like, what? All right, bro. Like, then you do it.
Kids show, but you'd think after 100 years of war, after everything people have lost, there'd be at least a few characters who didn't exactly greet him with open arms. And this is why I love the fisherman who Aang meets.
Oh, this is a good episode.
He actually might be one of the best single episode characters the show ever had, because he's not blindly celebrating the Avatar's return. No, he's angry, bitter. He looks
like 100 years,
at Aang not as a hero, but a failure. It's a rare moment of realism, where the emotions match the messy, complicated world the story is actually.
Because it's crazy, like, as a kid, like, I'm like, man, this fisherman tripping. Yeah. But as an adult, I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
we're in a war, my life sucks.
My mom died.
I never got to live a life because of you.
And the way Aang reacts, not with anger, but with guilt, tells us everything. Even without knowing the full story yet, we can feel that Aang has been carrying something heavy, something unspoken, ever since he woke up from that iceberg. It's the first real crack in the playful, adventurous image.
Was this early? This was early.
Of the boy monk we've seen so far. Eventually, Aang flies off. Katara follows him, and it's at this point that the storm splits into two parallel stories: Aang's past and Zuko's past.
Right! Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, wow, yeah, this is the flip right here, actually.
Cutting between them with rhythmic precision. And it's such a...
Remember the plot twist when Zuko is like, or Aang is like, Zuko's like uncle or granddad or something? Roku is what?
Oh, friends.
No, they're related.
Yeah, no. So, Roku and Sozin were best friends. They grew up in the Fire Nation together.
Right.
Sozin's the one who made Sozin's comment a war item. Roku was the Avatar.
Right. I thought they were related. I forgot that.
Smart choice, because even though the two stories are technically unrelated, the emotions underneath them are nearly identical. Guilt, shame, isolation.
Roku is his mother, his grandpa. Oh, yeah. No, he is related. Yeah. He is related.
Both of them shaped by forces they couldn't control. Both of them carrying scars they're still trying to outrun. And what makes it even smarter is the way the show structures these two stories. Both Aang and Zuko's pasts are told around fires, one in a cave, one on a ship. And the episode...
And then they go back together in the beginning, and at the end, and then they gotta hold the fire.
Cleverly fades between them. Aang is finally opening up to Katara.
Roku's kid is Zuko's dad. Zuko's dad is not Roku's son.
Roku's kid.
Man, let me Google it. Wait, what?
Spiritually related, because
Aang is reincarnation of Roku. Zuko is the grandson. Yeah, so they're related. Okay. So Roku is Zuko's granddad. Yeah.
Explains Zuko's history to the ship's crew, who up until now have only seen him as this angry, one-note figure, perhaps just like us, the audience. It's simple visual storytelling, but it works beautifully. Aang's story starts first. Sitting in the cave, he tells Katara about his life at the Southern Air Temple. A life of freedom and community and play. The memories are bright and warm, with this soft white sheen that gives them a slightly idealized, nostalgic feel. But there's also this deep sense of sadness running underneath them. We learn that the monks revealed to Aang that he was the Avatar far earlier than tradition would dictate, out of fear that war was coming, and that the world would soon need him. And after this reveal, everything changes for Aang. The other kids at the temple treat him differently. The monks treat him differently. He's no longer just another airbender. He's something else now, something bigger. And this is all made painfully clear when Aang overhears the monks debating whether to take him away from Monk Gyatso, the only true parental figure he has. This is the true breaking point. The Fire Nation might be the distant threat, but in this moment it's the people Aang trusts, his own community, who make him feel more isolated than ever. And faced with that, he runs. Not out of selfishness, not out of cowardice, but because he's a scared kid, and for the first time in his life, he feels completely alone. Meanwhile, back on the ship, Zuko's story unfolds. And just like
he turned into a weapon like Zuko and Azula.
Like Aang's, it's not the story of a great fall from power. It's the story of a boy being crushed by expectations he didn't choose. Through Iroh's explanation to the crew, we see a young, scarless Zuko, eager to impress, stepping into a Fire Nation war meeting. He speaks out impulsively, objecting to a plan that would sacrifice the lives of new recruits. But Zuko isn't punished because he's wrong. He's punished because he speaks out of turn, challenging the rigid hierarchy of the Fire Nation's military culture. The real emotional blow comes when Zuko is forced into an Agni Kai, and learns too late that his opponent is not the war general he interrupted, but his own father. When he begs for mercy, he's met not with understanding, but with violence. Ozai burns him without hesitation, and
Azula is such a tweaker, bro.
Azula from the jump was dropped on her head, gang. Like, she was, Azula was a problem.
What?
Bro.
She had CTE from birth. Nigga.
Yeah.
Oh, I could fix her. The duck? Okay.
Banishes him in shame. The scar, of course, is the most visible consequence, but what lingers far deeper is the emotional wound. The internalized belief that speaking out, showing compassion, even hesitating in the face of cruelty will only ever lead to rejection and pain. Both Aang and Zuko are, in their own ways, exiled. Aang cast adrift from his people by fear and expectation, encased in ice for 100 years. Zuko banished by his father for showing a flicker of humanity in a system built to crush it. And the Storm is careful not to overstate these parallels. There's no heavy narration telling the viewer what to think. Instead, the structure, the mirrored fires, the matching sequences of shame and exile, invites the audience to draw the connections themselves. Both boys are burdened by expectations that they never asked for. Both are trapped by choices they had no real power to make. And both are now adrift, carrying the consequences of those moments on their shoulders. This dual structure doesn't just deepen our understanding of Aang and Zuko individually, it transforms the emotional stakes of the show itself. Because, think about it, before this point we didn't really know these two people that well. Sure, we knew the surface
And the fact that it goes full circle is so crazy.
details. Aang was the fun-loving, carefree kid with a hidden burden. Zuko was the angry, brooding villain chasing him across the world. But that was
I never even connected the humanity thing because, like, yeah, he literally showed humanity and they made sure to like kill that immediately,
right,
and then he had to find it again. I didn't think about that.
about it. Their real histories, the weight that they were carrying,
It's actually the whole reason that Iroh's not ranked higher or in the same position that his brother is in, because he was like, I
and it cooked him so bad that Zuko literally got sick when he turned good. Like his body literally got sick.
Been or move.
Yeah.
reasons they behaved the way they did had been left mostly unspoken. The Storm changes all of that. The episode ends with Aang risking his life to save the fisherman who cursed him, and Zuko risking his life to save the crew who doubted him. Two acts of compassion, two moments of redemption, or at least the beginning of one. And then, in the middle of the chaos, it happens. As Aang and Appa fly through the storm, carrying everyone to safety, Zuko looks up from the deck of his ship.
Oh, I forgot about that.
This was such a subtle. Because it just happened. It just happens. There wasn't no fight. There wasn't no nothing. It just You know what I'm saying?
I forgot.
Their eyes meet for a brief moment across the sky. There's no dialogue, no confrontation, just a fleeting glance between two boys who, for all their differences, are carrying a really similar weight. And for me, this is the
That's peak. That's peak.
Letting the two antagonists, but also gonna be like protagonists and
That's
meet right there, but without meeting. That's fire.
I gotta rewatch the show, bro.
Avatar The Last Airbender becomes a masterpiece.
It's my only 10
What the
out of
Storm
10.
does so effectively is recalibrate our understanding of the story we're watching. From this point on, Avatar The Last Airbender is no longer just a well-made adventure series with a strong premise. It's a story about trauma, identity, and the burden of expectation. About what it means to carry guilt, to question your place in the world, to be shaped by choices you didn't fully make. And the thing is, even when the show returns to lighter, more episodic storytelling, and it does, there's now something deeper running underneath. Every joke, every
Boy, when he did that goddamn... Oh, let me see if I can do it. All right, try to like turn around and find me, bro. I'm gonna see how hard it is, bro.
Okay.
All right, no, you gotta like stand over here. I'm gonna try my best to predict your moves, bro.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Wait, are you try. Talk to me. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Did I do it?
No.
There's now something deeper running underneath.
Like, that shit old. When Aang start doing this shit right here, when he start, because he did the same thing when he almost fought that kid when he was in the fire. When he does this shit.
Yeah. When Aang really get down to it, bro, that footwork be crazy,
Aang
bro.
could hoop, bro.
Every joke, every village visit, every skirmish with a look.
That nigga gonna make Kyrie look like
That nigga said, Oh, that's just so smooth,
low-level
bro.
Fire Nation soldier, carries the echo of what these characters have been through. Furthermore, the storm sets the emotional foundation for what is, in my opinion, the most important narrative thread in the entire series, the connection between Aang and Zuko. The hero and the antagonist, the monk and the prince. Their stories don't just
Adios, I'm 69420.
run parallel, they kind of bend towards each other. And that moment across the sky, that brief look in the middle of the storm, is the first time we really feel that. The first time we sense that this isn't just about balance between elements or nations, it's about balance between people, between paths not taken, between who you were and who you could still become. And that, my friends, is going to be it for now. If you're interested in hearing more of my thoughts on this beautiful show, I actually made a 96-minute video reviewing and ranking every episode.
Hey man, that's gonna be the video. I hope you guys liked it. We'll catch you guys in the next one. That's gonna be it from us. Be sure to check out my stuff.
Nah, yo.
Check out Stanley stuff.
Stay alive.
We'll catch you guys in the goddamn next one. Peace.